AITA for repurposing the wedding fund and refusing to compromise. So forgot to save up for DS. I have two kids, DD, 12 and DS 6. Different dads. My ex, DD's father, and I have a joint savings account where we've been depositing £10 per week each since I found out I was pregnant with her. After 13 years, at £20 a week between us, her account has £13,240 and is going up by a little over £1,000 a year. When I found out I was pregnant with DS, I created another savings account for him. DH, his father, had a pre-existing savings account with a couple hundred in it and thought he could build off that, so we have separate savings accounts for DS. After 7 years, at £10 a week, the account I have for DS has £3,610. If DH was also contributing £10 a week, the way my DD's dad is for her, DS would have over £7,000. But as DH uses a separate account, I couldn't keep track the way I could with my DD's account. DH says that the account for DS that he controls only has a couple hundred, so while our son should have over 7K in savings already, he is less than 4K. It looks like not only has DH consistently forgot to put money in, but he's withdrawn two amounts, one for half the cost of our son's school uniform and one for the cost of his football kit. The idea of these accounts is that the kids get them when they turn 18 and they aren't touched in the meantime, so they can use them to help fund uni or put money towards a car, or use it for rent, or even if they just want something really impractical and stupidly expensive that they can't afford otherwise. I make a bit more than DH, but not much. I could afford to mass deposit the missing money right now and have to tighten our belts next month, or I could put a double in my son's account until the difference is made up, which would be about 7 years from now. DH thinks I should either total and then equally divide the amount in both accounts between the kids, or take what's missing from DD's account. DH says he can't afford to make up the difference right now himself, and he won't be able to do £20 a week for 7 years until the amount is made up. We have shared savings, about 2K in the emergency fund, and a joint account for household stuff, example food and bills. We could take it from that, but the emergency fund is for emergencies. It just doesn't seem fair that DD has significantly more than DS has, but IDK how to fix it without being unfair to her. Info, technically he's actually damn fiancé, not damn husband, but we've been together 7 years, lived together for as long, and are wedding planning. I make the most of all the parents, followed by my fiancé, followed by ex, DD's father. Taking money from DD was never an option as far as I was concerned, but it's what he suggested. So the wedding fund has about 2K in it. I thought it was less, but I just sat down and counted it all out. It's literally a jar of cash. I could just put the wedding fund as it stands in DS's account without having to touch the emergency savings, and if I did that, then DS would be a lot closer to where he should be, and DH would only have to pay double for a couple years to make up the difference. Relevant comments. Totally not a koala. He lied to you about $10 a week for over 7 years and asked you to steal from your daughter to make up for it. You're still going to marry him?
Ash.
Edit. Yes, H is my judgment if Opie goes through with marrying this guy. And it seems like she is. So, yes, H. OP. We're taking a break as of about 20 minutes ago. Commenter. Heads up, taking a break equals broken up. You've broken up. You might not look at it that way, but he will.
UP. Yup.
We've broken up. I was going to take a break before deciding, but the more I think about all the red flags, the angrier I get at both myself and him. OP added this to the Ahmed asshole post. Update 1. I asked him again why he didn't have the money. He said he just didn't. I asked him to bring up his bank statement or payslip or anything that shows how much money he has, bearing in mind he was last paid on the 28th and today is the 30th. He refused. I told him that if we were combining finances in any way, I should be able to see where his money is going. He responded that I wasn't showing him my financial information, so I pulled up my banking app so he could see my own balance and transaction history. He then showed me his last statement, which his bank emailed him today. We had a fight and he's staying in a hotel tonight, which it turns out he can more than afford. He has nearly 60K in his personal current account and savings accounts, presumably meant solely for himself. I cannot see us getting married after this. Not ever. It's not just the trust issue, but also that he, knowing he had nearly 60K in savings, decided that it was okay to try and guilt-trip me into taking money meant for my daughter to fix it for him. Verdict: everyone sucks. Update 2. Advice wanted. So for those just joining us, my fiancé, the father of my youngest of 2 children, had told me for years that he had an account that he was putting £10 a week in for the child that is biologically related to him to match the separate account I had where I was also putting in money for our son. Turns out he was lying. He had a couple hundred when he should have had over 10 times that. His solution was to take money from my daughter, who is not biologically related to him, because myself and her biological father have both been contributing £10 a week each since I got pregnant. He then tried to guilt me into giving my son the money meant for my daughter, saying if I didn't then I would be showing favoritism, and I was stuck as I felt that whatever I did I would be being unfair to at least one person. A short while ago I asked to see my fiancé's bank statement, as it is sent out on the 30th of every month, and he gets paid on the 28th. He immediately got cagey and said that it wasn't fair as I wasn't showing him my accounts, so I used my banking app to show him my accounts, and he, eventually, begrudgingly brought up his own. He has more than 3 times what is missing from our son's savings account in his current account, plus an additional savings account with 4 times that. So essentially, after leading me to believe he had put aside 3.5K for our son, he admitted he had only allotted him a few hundred when I had actually put aside the 3.5K to combine with his. He then, instead of admitting he had nearly 60 grand at his disposal, he told me to take money from my daughter to give to our son. When I asked him what he thought he was doing, he replied that he didn't see the point to creating a savings account for our son for when he turns 18, as he is currently 6. I explained the whole concept of saving up again, and he repeated that our son would need the money for years. So what's the point of building it up for the last 7 years, and for the next 11? I told him that he could have just told me this 7 years ago instead of lying to me, and he could have told me the truth any point in the last few days, where I've been tearing my hair out over what to do to make it up to our son, and he has watched me struggle over deciding what to do, and dismissed me as being dramatic and worrying over nothing. He is currently staying in a hotel, and we are officially on a break. I don't see me forgiving him anytime soon, but we have a son to think about, so if absolutely nothing else, I'm going to have to figure out how to be in the same room as him. Relevant comments. Raina Shami. When I asked him what he thought he was doing, he replied that he didn't see the point to creating a savings account for our son for when he turns 18, as he is currently 6. I explained the whole concept of saving up again, and he repeated that our son wouldn't need the money for years. So what's the point of building it up for the last 7 years, and for the next 11? Does he plan to just outright give him the whole sum when he turns 18? This is the only possible explanation that makes sense to me. The man has saved up 60K, so he knows the value of saving. It sounds much more plausible that he's a selfish horse's ass who is only thinking of himself and can't even give up $40 a month for his own son's future. ARRRGGGHHHHH, mind blown from rage. I really hope the wedding is OFF permanently. And if you've been together 7 years, you might want to get a lawyer. Hopefully common law spouse is a thing where you are. OP. One of the things he said was that saving now didn't matter because he could just give our son the money when he needs it and buy him stuff in the meantime, so he apparently can predict the future now and say with certainty that he'll still have all of this money over a decade from now. Wedding is 100% off. In UK. Not sure of the legal side, but we'll set up a consultation with a lawyer. Jilly Bobian. I hate to say it, but this relationship most likely can't survive. And it shouldn't. These types of trust issues are hard to get past. You say you need to be able to be in the same room with him and co-parent, but that doesn't mean you have to marry him. If I were you, I would deposit the wedding account into your son's account. Sue this dude for child support, and put $40 a month from that into his account to match what you're already depositing. It will suck because it's $40 less you'll have for his actual support, but you seem to make a good living. I would also make sure your son knows, when the account is turned over to him at 18, that the money came from you, and only you. But that's just because I'm petty. OP. It hasn't survived. I do still need to figure out how to co-parent with him, but I'm not marrying him. I'm not going to touch the shared funds right now. I want to consult a lawyer first, just in case putting shared funds into the account, even if it is for our son, could have legal repercussions. I do make a good living, and I don't really need child support to maintain our current lifestyle, but I'll see what the lawyer says. Green bastardette. Info. I just need to know about the look on this guy's face when he showed you his bank accounts. I need to know if this piece of shit had 1 ounce of remorse, or an explanation, or had the decency to look ashamed of himself. I don't understand how a person can lie so thoroughly and for so long. That's world-class sociopathy. I wouldn't let my kids near a person capable of that level of deceit. OP. He didn't do any of that. He looked a bit put off. Just sort of like he realized it was over. But then he tried to justify it, saying that our son was just going to piss it away once he was an adult.